Answer. Because you are that, you are capable. You are gifted, and you are so need to be opinionated. It's okay to be different, and it's so okay to just love. The world awaits to receive you.
Public comment, and she'll just put her head down and she won't listen to anything. She won't acknowledge anything. You know, I've seen mothers of murdered children and people who've lost family members in Dolton. She'll put her head down and she will not even acknowledge that the person is there because she doesn't like what they're saying. So after a few months of this,
Blessings, everyone. Welcome to Uncensored Enlightenment Talk. You're here with your host, Grace Levi, and today we have a special. Now, I am going to send love and blessings to Miss Cara Wilson as well as all of the Wilson family on today, the 27th, because the Levi family do know that every 27th I try to put a tribute out to Alexis via my post, or if I can put a video out to get the word out of what happened. Now, the first thing I do want to highlight, because we're going to go into some of the video in detail. The video that you just saw was from the perspective of Officer Perez. And this is Officer Perez. We're going to put him on the screen. And one of the first things I do want to say is I want to send respect out to Officer Perez. God rest the dead. Y'all know that we have been pursuing this situation to get justice for Alexis, but we never knew that it was going to go as far as him not being alive behind a tragic car accident, which is still under question right now. But when you watch the video, we're going to put the actual video up on our YouTube page, and you can play it in slow motion and some of the things that we're going to show you tonight. But one of the things I am going to highlight, because we're going to humanize everybody, even if we don't agree with what they do, if we don't feel like they did things right. I do believe Officer Perez was human in a part of the video, and this information is provided to me. The 911 tape information was provided by Dolton, Illinois Police Department. Thank you for being transparent and sending the full report. As though you know, we have having issues receiving a full report from the Illinois State Police, and we will update you guys later on this week on what we're going through with that. So the 911 tape, within that, in this report, it says, from Officer Perez, at this point, Officer J. Carlton radio report yelling, suspect is down, get out of the car, get me out of the car. Officer Perez radio report, Sarge, I can't see her. Can you see her? Officer J. Carlton radio report again, the suspect is down, get me out of the car. Now, when you hear his voice, Officer Perez, I mean, because I listened to this over and over and over, and I can hear something in him that sounded human. And I know, and I do believe that his current situation has something to do with the numerous deaths that he was involved in. And that is highlighting that just because you get away with something on paper doesn't mean that is the best end result for the officers. Some of the things that I have been trying to find out from Dolton as well as Illinois State Police is some of the procedures that the officers should follow or go through after an active shooter, excessive force, discharge of a gun. Do they have an evaluation, psychological evaluation, a training evaluation in de-escalating? What are the procedures? As we highlight in Dolton, there is supposed to be a board that's supposed to review these excessive force according to their laws, of what we have, and they do not. So this is due to the lack of participation thereof, or them not actively looking to fill these positions, because it's very important. So as you know, Officer Perez was able to re-enter and never actually stop being an officer in the city of Dolton until we started to actually pursue him. Okay, after the numerous lawsuits that he was involved in, the $33.5 million case, as well as 3 more cases that we talked to you about. Now, this is not to just shed a bad light on Officer Perez, but I want you guys to think about what it does to you, to him mentally, what it does to anyone to be in that situation and given a point of authority to do so. You know, all humans don't make the right decisions. So this is something that people who are in charge of making the bylaws, doing the evaluations, and actually hiring the police should consider and have systems to check and balance. So these are some of the things that I'm asking the residents to bring up when you guys are in a meeting, because this is some of the things that have not been addressed in Dolton until most recently. As we know, Kiana Belcher has petitioned to get the Dolton Police Station audited. So I would love to hear what that entails of. We're going to keep our eye on that. But I definitely am grateful for her for that, because there are a lot of things that needs to be updated, as well as making sure that everybody is trained and credentialed right. So as I move on, and what we showed you, we wanted to show you all aspects in that video, because you know this is my baby girl. Sometimes I hear her voice in my sleep, especially after editing that video and having to, play things in slow motion, some of the things that we're going to show you. But we also want to highlight our children's response. As we know, at the tender ages of teenager years, they don't think like we think as adults. Also, a lot of them are going through rebellious stages. This is why it takes a community to raise a child. At the end of the day, they can come from good communities, bad communities, and still get into situations like this. We have seen numerous situations, Trayvon Martin, and much more, that just being accosted by aggressive people that has the accessibilities, the guns. But us as parents in the community have to teach our kids how to, it's sad but true, mitigate when the adults can't mitigate. Making sure that our kids know how to, quote unquote, comply in the aspects of, if they can comply, depending on the tenure of the officer. But I have, heard of stories, as well as my son has been encountered with officers, and because of the tenure and the compliance, the officer was more readily to work with them. But as we say, we have to understand the officer's mindset and what they're used to. And in Dolton, officers look like they're ready to set it off. We've been showing you our series, The Unhinged Dolton Police Department. So this is not a one-hit quitter, okay? So with that goes to say, Alexis, to me as a mother and as a human being, and listening to her mother, when you see her pull off, and that was one of the things, as just a regular person, I asked those real questions, like what will make her pull off? And one of the things that Miss Carter said a lot when she just talked to me, that's why I'm so connected to this. So when she just talked to me, and sometimes she'll just talk and she just tell stories, and she's told me a story about a dog and Alexis, and reactions to when she's being accosted or being aggressively pursued. And usually it sounds like she responds the same way. Hey, get away from me. What you doing? And flee. Not and these are different stories I have heard over the time, just listening to Carver stories, different stories. And I just not want to share nothing personal, but then it made me understand, like, okay, what made her do that? And that was a fight or flight response to my understanding, which people will say that's not the right response. You should do that, but you don't know how people will respond and being that age. So I want to put those things out there so we could kind of think how, everybody was feeling, kind of possibly what is going on, kind of get deeper into this. And then you have what you see. You see not only the officers being affected, but you also see the fire department, and you also see the EMT being affected. That was pretty much a good amount of the full body cam clip of Officer Perez that I was able to obtain. And I'm so grateful. And that was not from the Illinois State Police. Okay. They sent me a 30-second clip that I'll be showing you guys. And in that 30-second clip that they showed me from both officers, I think we got some pertinent information to kind of contrast what has been going on in these reports. So my point of affliction is that not only, what we saw going on in Dolton, where you had the fire department not having a contract, literally not having insurance, and they're still putting themselves at risk. And this is related to officers' action and into counters that's not de-escalated, because we're going to name some of the officers as well, and also show you by way of proof that many of the officers in Dolton made over $100,000 in 2023. They made over $100,000 in 2023. We cross-referenced two of our lists, and that was even more than the Henyard guy. So here goes the list of officers who are actively employed, and this is not doxing. This is for you guys to know who's working for you. Our main point of affliction in this particular broadcast is Officer Carlton. He is still full-time employed. As I received a workers' compensation document, as I showed you guys before, that he gets paid at least $3,500 every other week. And it is not proven that he is on the beat or if he's home. So in the video, what we showed you was pictures of feet and ankles. We're going to update you on his injuries, and you let us know, should he be on workers' compensation for going on 4 years now, off the back of the Dolton residents. Highlighting so people can be aware, Officer Carlton, he is the shooter. I want you guys to know that Officer Perez was not the shooter. This is Officer Perez. He was not the shooter, but he was the one that had the long rap record of unaliving people and getting away with it. So Mama Cara felt it was more important to take him off the street and go after him because he was more dangerous and had a taste for blood. This, according to my research, is Officer Carlton's first shooting. And I do believe, based on the situation and the lies, that Officer Carlton no longer deserved to be paid by the city of Dolton. And he may want to seek counseling as well as look for another career, because we're going to continue to pursue him and ask the elected officials to let him go. All right. Later on, we'll share the letter with you, as which we did. We wrote a letter a couple of months ago before the election, and we're going to continue to try to communicate with the elected officials of Dolton related to this, because we will not rest. Now, this document that I want you guys to know about, and we're going to go over it. Okay. But what really stood out to me pertaining to this broadcast is Officer Jared Carlton. This is the officer who now is still being employed, still getting paid from Dolton and everything. He at least got paid between $75,000 to $99,000, according to my calculations, about $80,000 in 2023. That's 2 years after the unfortunate incident that we showed you with Alexis. So he has been on workers' compensation, using workers' compensation in regards to the injuries. Now we're going to look at those particular injuries. And I know you guys are not healthcare providers, but you guys give me your opinion. But me as a healthcare provider, I think 3 years later, he should be healed and at least on desk duty if that's happening. And if he is, I would hope that we know about it and that he's going to lose his job coming up. Now, let's get to this section. Now, this is the section right here that our audience member brought up because there's several officers that was involved in this particular situation that we're going to show you. And we're going to get to them one by one. We're going to knock them down one by one for what they did, not excessively, but we're going to highlight it so you guys can see wrong is wrong, wrong is wrong. Okay. So now let's get to just a few factors that I want to show you, because another thing that is greatly alarming is that the officers that's involved in the Alexis situation are still employed. Okay. And some of them should still be employed with training, but these are the 4 officers that we're going to focus in on right now or for the next couple of months. As we know, Perez is no longer someone of pursuit, but Officer Carlton, J. Carlton, the shooter, as well as S. Hobsons, which is a female officer. And I believe D. Hope may have been the officer in the back. So we're going to solidify the identity of S. Hobsons and D. Hope, but they are still employed with I wanted to make sure I get to your comments. This is so hard for me to listen to. I never forgot this girl death for no reason. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate you for being here. This has been swept under the rug. And then it honestly, the tone that we get from Dolton residents, it's a supportive, but it's not a wholehearted supportive. It's we feel sorry for you, but they're not pushing the elected officials to get this rectified. So I will pray that some of the Dolton residents really see the discrepancies that I highlighted here, because this is not a personal fight. It seems like it is because I have fell in love with Miss Carver, and to the fact that I have teenagers that is around the age of what Alexis would be. And I understand what they have went through. It has been a struggle to raise these kids in this AI world, and all the bad behavior is being glorified. And even if it is, we are supposed to be adults in our professional political position to mitigate this and create programs that's going to help our youth and bridge the gap between our youth and the police. So that is one of the last things that I want to highlight. I wrote a letter to the Dolton trustees as well as House before the election, and that letter just highlights how we were pursuing basically justice from them, asking them to let go of Officer Carlton now. All right. And as Mom has suggested, maybe have something in honor of Alexis, so officers and the community can remember this that happened, and that this was the time that the bond was rebonded between the community and the police. So I think that can be done with some suggestions I would throw out there. Either the skate park could be updated to make it a nice skate park dedicated to her, not what Henyard got, or you can revamp Melody Fitness. And I really think that this is a good idea, guys. And this is just something I'm throwing out there, that you revamp Melody's Fitness and allow that to be a place that not only that the community and the kids can go to, but that's where you can house your meetings that you're supposed to have instead of renting them from the park district. You can have events there for the community and yourself, because that's the parking lot Henyard was using anyway, as well as you can build a relationship between the administration and the general public. As I mentioned, Miss Cara Wilson is a very intelligent woman, and she deals with autistic children. And I know if y'all would like she will be able to offer services in Dolton to you guys, because there's a lot of undiagnosed kids in Dolton, I would assume, in the Chicago area, of autism and other learning disabilities. And these are some of the programs that needs to be heightened in y'all area, as well as getting the budget situation to get together and getting those funky crooks out of Dolton. You know, a little bit of Grace Levi gonna have to come out. So with that being said, I want to say I love you guys. Thank you for taking the time to actually listen to this and continue to learn more and more. We have a lot to divulge. We're going to talk about the gun that was found, the investigation behind that. We're going to talk about Officer Staples, as well as we're going to talk about the EMT workers and much more. And as we get more video footage, because I'm going to continue to struggle and tuggle with the Illinois State Police, I'm going to get what I asked for, and we're going to show the truth. So with that goes to say, I love you guys. You have a beautiful Sunday, and I'm going to see you guys next week. Please turn your notifications on. I love you. I love you.